Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United still want Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Recent narratives have said we have paused our pursuit of Jadon Sancho due to Mason Greenwood, because Mason Greenwood's made good progress, and Mason Greenwood recently signed a new 4-year contract. This is what David Ornstein had said from The Athletic. Now, Jadon Sancho is available for a reduced fee in the summer transfer window. Recently, £60 million was quoted. It said before that we believe we can get him for just £50 million. Borussia Dortmund face a summer of transfer exits. There was narratives coming out the other week saying that Dortmund could sell up to 8 players in the summer to raise funds. They are expecting Sancho to leave, but Dortmund also came out and said they'll only sell Jadon Sancho on one condition this summer. That's if they can keep Erling Haaland. So what they're saying in that aspect is that they're not willing to sell both players in the summer. Bild said earlier on this season that Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million, but that's still far too much for him. Sancho made an admission earlier on this season saying that he has endured a difficult season at Dortmund. Dortmund have endured a poor season to their standards. Last summer, Jadon Sancho was our number one priority target, but Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation, so the valuation was a stumbling block. But he said a few times last summer that the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. And Fabrizio Romano, who is a very reliable Italian journalist and is also close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, so too has Bild Christian Fark. Dortmund said to us last summer, didn't they, that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Borussia Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. You know, this is his 4th season at Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2023. So that's a bit more news on Jadon Sancho. You already know the news on Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. I've been hearing that Mini Oriola, his agent, has been demanding a £78 million contract for his client if he is to leave Dortmund in the summer. Now, I want to speak with you about Anthony Martial. Now, I think Man United should sell Anthony Martial in the summer. Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had his chances, but he just hasn't converted them. Solskjaer actually backs Martial to rediscover his form. He certainly doesn't have a long-term future at Man United. You know, who will be our long-term number 9? But Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. Don't forget Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. I've got to say now, I think Edinson Cavani has overtaken him. Edinson Cavani has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. I like the way Edinson Cavani holds up the play. His movement in and out of the box is good. He creates chances and he scores goals. Edinson Cavani, I think, is going to be at Man United for next season, because Cavani's already said that he wants to stay at Man United for next season. And Solskjaer has said that Cavani is set for contract extension talks. I presume we'll trigger that 1 year extension on his current contract. I think Cavani's into the final 4 months of his current contract. He's missed our last 2 games with a muscle injury. We got Cavani on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1 year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. But revert back to Martial, if we do sell him in the summer, I think we can get from between 25 to 30 million pounds. I think a few players could leave Man United in the summer transfer window. I think there is a chance that Juan Mata will leave. Juan Mata doesn't get in the team a lot now, but in the games he's played in this season, he has done well. My element of concern about Mata now is that he's lost that yard of pace. Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. His current contract expires in the summer, but we do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata. Matic, there's a chance we could offload him in the summer. He's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances, does Matic. And as you all know, I've always had my reservations about him, because he's always been a slow player, and Matic is aging up now. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. He did sign a new 3-year contract, did Matic, was it, before the start of this season. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave this year. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Solskjaer said that Phil Jones is going to be given a second chance. Phil Jones doesn't get in our 11. He has been out of injury for over a year. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United. He's been a long servant at the club. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Romero, I want us to offload him. Paul Pogba, he could still leave the football club in the summer. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. There's been a lot of narratives of him possibly going back to Juventus. I think there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus, because he did endure 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined us, and there was narratives from Italy recently saying that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba, and PSG have been in for him. Said not so long ago that we revealed our asking price for Pogba. It's £100 million. Paul Pogba's future is on hold until the end of the season. Paul Pogba's done very, very well in recent months. He's been enjoying the best period in his Man United career. At the moment, he is out with a thigh injury. Solskjaer did confirm prior to the Real Sociedad game in the first leg that Paul Pogba's going to be out for the rest of February. Should be back in early March. But he is a big miss, because if you've noticed, we lack quality in that midfield without him. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. He's our most expensive signing at the moment, because we paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he joined. Paul Pogba's brother, Matthias Pogba, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future a few weeks ago, and he's actually advised us to sell Pogba in the summer if we are to get the money, because he said he's got no intention of signing a new contract and he could leave on a free next year. Fabrizio Romano's spoken about Paul Pogba as well quite a few times. Now, it said a few weeks ago that we'd held talks with Paul Pogba over his future, and Solskjaer said that Paul Pogba's happy at the club and he suggested Paul Pogba could sign a new contract. Now, if we can't get a replacement for Pogba in the summer, then he could sign a new contract. Mini Oriola wants to get his client out of the club in the summer, and you know, he's been criticised a few times, Mini Oriola, and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, does he? This is why Mini Oriola recently admitted that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. And don't forget, he did make an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer wasn't happy with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig. Last month, it said that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent, Mini Oriola, for the second time. But we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract earlier on in the season, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. So yeah, and this year's summer transfer window is very, very important for Manchester United. And it's the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. Solskjaer said earlier on this season that our summer transfer plans could be affected by the pandemic. But despite the pandemic, I'm still expecting us to make some signings. I think we could make 2, 3, maybe even 4 signings in the summer. I think our transfer budget has recently been revealed, and it's not what a lot of Man United fans expected. He said a few weeks ago that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Woodward set to hand Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. Now, a centre-back and a forward are our 2 priorities. It actually said Solskjaer wants 3 summer signings, and he's set to sit down with Ed Woodward to negotiate our business in the next couple of weeks. Solskjaer recently confirmed that he's got the backing of the owners to recommend the players that he wants in. Like I said, it was a disappointing January transfer window for us because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But yeah, Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. You know, during the January transfer window, we was focusing a lot more on the outgoings rather than the incomings. We saw a few players leave in January. We saw Jesse Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. We loaned Tiedemann Mengi out. We loaned Facundo Palestri out. Odina Gallo said his farewells to the club. We let Marcus Rojo go, and we also let Timothy Fosu-Mensah go. Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of the deadwood now since he got recommended in. But I think the board should back Ole in the summer transfer window. Like I've said, he does deserve more backing at the club. Woodward has come out several times to support Solskjaer, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Even when we was enjoying them bad periods under Ole and he was close to getting sacked, Woodward came out and assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe. Because our board have got a soft stance on Ole, with him being a club legend. But the board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for a long time now. Reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been in the last 7.5, 8 years. We've overpaid for players, and none of the managers have been back to enough since Ferguson retired, and this is why a lot of Man United fans have been demanding the board out. But yeah, Solskjaer's made good signings at the club. He's spent over £200 million. He's brought players like Dan James and Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire in. He's obviously brought the likes of Fernandes and Odi and Igalo in. Igalo's no longer here, but he did still bring him in January of last year. And he's brought players like Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Diallo Traore. But obviously so far, Solskjaer hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. Like I say, top 4 is now our aim this season. And I can almost assure that we are going to finish in the top 4. We are second in the Premier League. We do need to qualify for the Champions League, so obviously we can attract players to the highest level. Solskjaer must win a trophy as Manchester United manager to avoid the sack. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. And a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. Now, the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. And the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. Solskjaer said after our 3-1 win against Newcastle that we are still in the title race despite the 10-point gap. He said after our 1-1 draw with West Brom that we are still in the title race and will not settle for second in the title race. I've totally disregarded the title, and so too have a lot of Manchester United fans. We haven't won the Premier League title since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. But yeah, I am certainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I think he's made very, very good progress at Man United in the last year or so. We've obviously seen performances improve in recent months. There's been some games where Ole's got the best out of the players, and there's players that have really improved this season. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. Winning the FA Cup quarter-finals, winning to the Europa League last 16. Ole got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to Man City. Ole did well last season in his first full season at the club, guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us 3rd. So he does deserve credit, and Solskjaer is going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his 2nd full season at the moment. I still don't know though if he is the long-term manager. If we win a trophy this season and finish in the top 3, top 2, then I'll turn around and say that represents a good season and we can build from that going on into next season. But even if we don't win a trophy this season, Solskjaer will still be Man United manager for next season. He's been Man United manager now over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We're giving the job permanently, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. I'm expecting Solskjaer to sign a new contract at the end of the season. He recently said that Solskjaer's future is in doubt. because he admitted that nobody spoke to him yet over a new contract. He said the other week that we'll wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. And it says we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, that's if we qualify for the Champions League. Ole is into the final 18 months of his current contract. But yeah, reflecting now on his being at the club, he's gained managerial experience, he's learnt quite a bit on the job, and Solskjaer hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager, but I've got to say, the best manager since Ferguson. I can assure he was a much better manager than David Moyes was. When Solskjaer took over at Man United, he knew it was a massive job, despite him knowing the culture of the club. He knew he had to come in and bring consistency back, and we've had periods under Ole where we've seen consistency, and that's good because we didn't see consistency for a long time. He knew he had to come in and get the right players in. Like I said, he's made good signings, but obviously hasn't got all the players in that he wanted as yet. Hopefully that will change in the summer. And he knew he had to come in and, get rid of the deadwood, and he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood to his credits. And I think, when Solskjaer has been under pressure at Man United and he's been close to getting sacked, I think he's handled the pressure really, really well. Because when we have been inconsistent under Ole, not all the blame stemmed from him. Not all the blame stems from the manager. Obviously, certain players in that have got to take responsibility. And like I say, players have improved for us this season, but there's also players that have been underperforming. We've got to start beating the big teams in the league this season, because we've struggled against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season, and people say you've got to beat the top 6 sides if you are to be genuine title contenders. Let's put into the equation Solskjaer's inheriting players from other managerial eras, and Ole's our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. Now, the news on Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson has threatened to quit Manchester United if he's not assured the number 1 role. We've revealed our asking price for Dean Henderson. It's £40 million. There's 3 clubs that are in for him, Tottenham, Chelsea and West Ham. Solskjaer admitted earlier on this season that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. I think he's reliable enough now to become our number 1 goalkeeper, because he has got that experience behind him and he has done well in the games he's played in this season. And Dean Henderson's got a lot of development in him. He's about 7.5 years younger than De Gea. So it would make sense to sell De Gea in the summer transfer window. I think there's a good chance he'll leave in the summer, De Gea. We're looking at Donnarumma from AC Milan as his replacement. Donnarumma could be convinced to leave AC Milan. De Gea will remain our number 1 for at least this season, but Solskjaer's warned David De Gea that his number 1 jersey is under threat, and Neville came out not so long ago and said that Solskjaer must deal with the goalkeeper situation. Scholes came out recently and said that David De Gea is becoming a real problem for Man United. This is his 10th season at the football club. De Gea has been a long servant, been with us since the Ferguson era. He's made over 500 appearances in all competitions. But in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes. So reflects on that, he has become a liability. I heard that there's 3 clubs that are in for David De Gea. So I forgot to mention that earlier. Yeah, so one of them are going to leave in the summer. But yeah, these are good players at Manchester United. They really, Luke Shaw, we've been getting the best out of him this season. He's got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses into the box, and defensively he's been superb. And Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles. And Shaw's had a good career at Man United, apart from the injuries that he's had, being at the club over 6 years. Bay's done well in the games he's played in this season. I certainly prefer Eric Bay to Victor Lindelof, but my element of concern about Bay is that he's too injury prone. Harry Maguire's enjoyed some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed bad games. He certainly wasn't worth that £80 million that we got him for. And Wan-Bissaka, he's enjoyed good games this season where he's got forward well, he's got into good positions, and he's put good crosses into the box. Defensively, and Wan-Bissaka's always been superb. Fred, he's really, really improving. He's getting forward well. His passing's better. Fred's been in the club now a few years. He's made over 100 appearances for Man United in all competitions. McTominay, he's enjoyed good games this season. Donny van de Beek, he's a very, very good player when he plays. But most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. Solskjaer needs to give him more opportunities. Bruno Fernandes, he's an exceptional player. Bruno Fernandes has made the difference in this team. Mason Greenwood, he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. And he's done well recently despite scoring. Not so long ago, Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with Manchester United. He deserved a new contract reflecting on his good performances. Marcus Rashford, he's done very, very well. But he's obviously enjoyed bad periods. We've got to keep Marcus Rashford out wide because that's where he's more effective. And like I said, Edinson Cavani's made a fantastic impact. So we have got some very good players. And I said our current squad is good enough to finish at least in the top 4. It'd be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4 this season. But yeah, the Real Sociedad is Thursday night, 8 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford in the Europa League round of 32, second leg. We're already into the last 16 of the Europa League because we beat Sociedad 4-0 in the first leg in Turin. It was goals from Bruno Fernandes, he scored 2. Rashford scored and Daniel James scored, and it was a very, very good performance by Man United, and I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you. I've just recently given you my starting 11 prediction for the game. How Man United could line up. So yeah. Solskjaer provided us with an update on Edinson Cavani, Donny van de Beek and McTominay. He said they could be available. Obviously Paul Pogba's still out. And Solskjaer was asked if Amad Diallo, Traore and Solskjaer will start this one. And Solskjaer said they probably won't be starting, but they will be part of the squad. Solskjaer recently made his first team debut, came on against Newcastle, and Amad Diallo Traore made his first team debut because he came on in the first leg. But Solskjaer said after the first leg that Amad Diallo Traore could start in the second leg. A lot of United fans would like to see Amad Diallo Traore start. Real Sociedad, they're not a brilliant team, they're an okay team. They had a good win recently because they won 4-0. They're sitting 5th in the La Liga. Their current manager is Emmanuel Alguacil. And like I said, I do know a few of their players. After Real Sociedad, it's Chelsea away, and Chelsea's going to be a tough game because they've done well since Tuchel taken over. They're unbeaten so far under Tuchel. It is Palace after Chelsea, and then it is Manchester City, and Manchester City is going to be a very, very hard game. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.